Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Farron. I'm Client Development Manager for Surround Technologies. We're extremely excited to present this webinar on Surround on our flagship solution, Accelerator. So first, a little housekeeping. For this webinar, you're on listen-only mode, so you don't have to worry about placing yourself on mute or any ambient noises. Just sit back and enjoy the presentation. Now, if you have at any time any questions about what you see or feel, feel free to submit them to us on the question panel of the webinar window at any time. We will get to as many of these questions as we can, and we'll be doing that at the end of the webinar. We encourage an interactive webinar, so please join in. Speaking of interactivity, we're going to continue to periodically throughout the webinar fire off some of these poll questions. When you see them, shoot us your answers, and we will discuss your feedback live. So right now, I want to jump right in by introducing the presenter, Lee Paul, with 21 years of experience building software for the IBM I platform, 13 years of those in software modernization. Lee is the Chief Modernization Strategist and Evangelist for Surround Technologies. So without further ado, I present you today's speaker, Lee Paul. Take it away, Lee.
Oh, great. Thanks, Mark. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time and strive to make our webinars as informative as possible for you. I hope and trust that you will find that this one to be that as well. So let's get started. You're probably here today because you have an IBM I, and there's a strong chance, like us, you believe it is the best platform to run a business. That its scalability, robustness, security, and low cost of ownership make it truly an amazing and unbeatable platform. I suspect you're also here watching this because you have a tremendous value locked up in your existing applications running on that I. Applications that have proven themselves capable by running your business for many years now. But you want, no actually, you need to incorporate modern technologies. In fact, there's only one real problem. The people that need and use your applications don't quite see the beloved IBM I and your applications the same way as you do. I'm sure everyone has seen some faces like these. You may have even seen many of them. And I suspect that that feels like much more than just one single problem. This is probably because for many of these people, the software they have to use is simply getting in the way of them doing their job. They see the 5250 UI. Newer users find it cumbersome and difficult. Training is heavily focused on using the systems and not on the business reasons for it. But that is only the people using the software. What about the business execs that need to keep the company going and growing in rapidly changing and highly competitive market? They need more. They need integration. As you may very well know, integration with more types of systems and more devices with more diverse user requirements for more companies gets significantly more complex and challenging. This slide is taken from one of our clients, and it represents some of how their systems were working. It is important to notice that the needs went far beyond just the user experience on the desktop, or even in their growing mobile and touch interfaces. Integration was a challenge within their own systems. The external interfaces, represented by the little blue icons here in the top right of the slide, were a different beast altogether. Phone systems, door lock and key systems, facility access systems, point-of-sale systems, barcode scanners, credit card processing, credit card, magnetic strip readers, RFID chip readers, photo capture, there was air, taxi, rental car, and public transportation systems, local and regional information and event systems. The list just goes on and on. There's literally hundreds of them. On top of that, depending on where and when they are used, there may even be many different versions of the same interfaces. Ultimately, from the user experience to multi-channel device support to systems integration, the biggest complaint from entry-level user to C-level exec is that the platform and software applications simply can't keep up with the business environment. For the users, I suggest that is due to expectations of software by today's community. Most people have computers at home. And if they don't, it's probably because they traded that in for a tablet. Whether computer or tablet, web or an app on the device, the majority of the software they use is just so simple. The software used by young kids, grandparents, and everyone in between. It's all simple. Users have become familiar with software that is simple. So now, They expect all software to be simple. Additionally, the business environment itself is changing rapidly. There is greater and greater demand for software to do more and more. Not just for the users either. There's a continual flow of new devices and an increasing demand for real-time integration with other services and technologies. And of course, they need it all yesterday, right? Ultimately, the users and the business need software and technology delivered faster with better quality and more functionality. And you, no doubt, would like to deliver this. You would like nothing more than to make IT the shining star of business enablement, to have advanced software that connects everything, that is agile so it adapts to changing business needs, and that is productive and simple to use. You would like users like these, users that are happy and smiling while they perform their jobs and service their clients, never wondering how to get their menus or where the F23 key is, never having to know what a work with is, a prompt or a field exit, never having to be trained on or asking how to use the application itself. You want to provide self-service software. You know IT self-service is huge, and that the consumerization of IT is one of the biggest impacts you will see over the next 10 years. You know that consumerization will take many shapes with users that can safely and securely access your system from anywhere with virtually any device. Ultimately, the business needs more, which means that you and the software development team have to deliver more and more and more. Unfortunately, though, you have one barrier, one hurdle. Your systems are huge. There is a heavy investment in these systems that were built and grown over decades of time. They run the entire business with many, perhaps hundreds or even thousands of users. There are millions of lines of code and thousands of screens. Some of the people that wrote this code may not even be around anymore. And some of you may not even have the source code to begin with. Also, the barrier may not be limited to just your IBM I or Z systems. It may not be limited to RPG, COBOL, or other 5250 development languages. Many companies have outdated web and Windows-based applications as well. You know, those industrial-looking applications fraught with old UIs and low-res graphics that also lack good navigation or are not compatible with anything else. And to top it all off, developing software for some of these technologies is all new to you. You're not really sure where to start or if what you are being asked to do is even possible. When you do jump into it, you second-guess if you're doing it the right way, if the users will like it, if it will perform well, or even work at all. For developers like us in the IBM I space, where we have always felt so sure of what we are doing, that is probably one of the most frustrating and debilitating issues. You see, development on the IBM I has always been heavily focused on business needs. And now there's all this other technology to deal with. And in fact, most software engineers today are now spending too much time dealing with multiple technology issues instead of delivering the much-needed business solutions themselves. The development and delivery of key software applications simply isn't keeping pace with your business. And your business isn't progressing as fast as it could and should. You may have recognized this some time ago and tried to do something about it. You may have done some Java or PHP or .NET that may have worked for you an effort, often leaving you wondering, why does this have to be so darn hard? That's why modernization productivity solutions for software engineers is so appealing and undoubtedly a good idea. Chances are you have already tried some of these solutions, modernization tools that promised you the answers to all your problems. You may have even had some success. But was that a tactical one-off solution, or was it a long-term strategy? What you may have come to find is that there's a catch with a lot of these development productivity tools. They are usually restrictive or incomplete, and the results you get are, well, underwhelming. But the closer you look at and use them, the more you find limitations. These solutions only get you so far. Then, bam, a brick wall. And that brick wall can be very expensive to crash into. You may have to start all over. In fact, some companies may be on their second or third attempt. They've tried a screen scraper but could not re-engineer. Maybe Java, but it was terribly difficult and complex. There's PHP. They get some quick wins, but eventually realize standards are tough to maintain. They find themselves with another legacy-style system increasing yet even further that maintenance drag on new software development. Perhaps they felt the confines of some various frameworks available, or 4GLs, code generators, proprietary IDEs, and multiple multi-product suites may have gotten them even further. But inevitably, there it is again, that brick wall. Now they are even further down the rabbit hole, feeling like they're trapped and can never get out. Solution providers may offer other parts of the product suite to get around that wall, but there are additional license fees. Different product parts may not play well together. What you have already done may not migrate to the newer solution. Or bam, there's an inevitable, another brick wall. After and with all this, executives wonder if it's worth it. They contemplate throwing it all out and, dare I say, buying an ERP or a similar solution. Please don't misunderstand me. While they may want to sell their solution, I don't believe these companies are intentionally trying to deceive you. I am hopeful they believe they do have a good solution. However, these companies have a challenge of keeping up with technology as well. And they always seem to be years behind Microsoft, Apple, and Google interfaces, and the distance is just growing. It's rapidly and more definitely growing. So with that, let's take a quick breather here and hear from you. Will?
Okay. So Lee's actually gone into a lot of the reasons that you guys might actually be here, and it's time for another poll. Based on what you've heard and why we actually feel that we've developed a great product for you, what we want to know is, have you ever encountered limitations or dead ends in your modernization strategy? Like before, if you were here when we were waiting for other attendees, I'm launching the poll. You can go ahead and select one of these answers. And the possible answers to this question are, yeah, and I've got the battle wounds to prove it. Yeah, but I'm just starting to see them now. No, not really. So far, so good. Or no, you're still working on your strategy. You're really here from more of an informational point of view. So I'll give you a few seconds to go ahead and answer this, and then we'll get to your answers live. We have most of our polls, and it looks like we have from everyone. We have a pretty wide gamut today, Lee. It looks like there's a good percentage of you who've got some battle wounds to go ahead and prove that your modernization strategy hasn't gone so smoothly. And a large percentage of you are starting to see those dead ends or those limitations now. So we're definitely happy to have you here. A few of you are all right, but just looking around. And a lot of you are actually starting to see your strategies. So pretty good to ask these questions now. Lee?
Great, thanks, Joel. Yeah, that's a good spread of answers there. It's typical to what we see. All right, let's move on here. All right, so getting back to it here, that was a lot of information, and you are probably now wondering, what is it you do? What if I were to tell you that you can accelerate past all those other modernization solutions? And for that matter, accelerate past most of the product solutions available out there on the market and develop the right way, the best way. A solution that will leverage what you have today, allow your business to operate the way it believes best with your software that is more modern than other products the business could possibly buy. A solution that will leverage what you have today to build desktop, web, and mobile applications using the same sets of tools, skill sets, and team. A solution that allows you to leverage and re-engineer your legacy applications at your pace with best practice software design and architecture, learning the most modern technology quickly with good application performance and reliability, easy to deploy and test, quick to enhance and maintain, and all without that brick wall, with no limitations to your ability to innovate. Let me show you what a solution like this provides to the end user. So I'll do a quick demo here. Close this up. I'm going to double-click on an icon on the desktop here. First of all, you see a typical logon that you might see. One thing to point out in the underlying architecture is that there's no direct back-end connection to the database. So everything is being served up through the entire presentation layer using web services. Also important to note is that you can change the language at will, and you can have internationalization and localization built in as needed. I'm going to go ahead and connect. See a typical splash window, and up comes my system. Now, first thing to notice on this system is it should be fairly familiar. We take from the Outlook style, but we go well beyond that, and we actually add a lot of different techniques, different styles from various other areas. And I'll point some of those out. So you see typical Windows style application. You got a menu bar up top, you got toolbar, you've got left-hand navigation, you've got some content here in the middle. We've got task panes over on the left for being able to do task-specific user processes, and even some down at the bottom for maybe some ease of access to information. Typical dashboard right here in the middle, okay? Pointing out the navigation over here on the left, almost forgot that, is you can have the navigator be displayed in what's most comfortable to the users. Most typical users will have these large icons. Others that have more advanced functionality may have more pieces over here. By the way, what you're seeing here is a lot of information. Typical users wouldn't have all these. The system is secured down where, based on user ID, these show up or don't show up. Okay? Some people like this style. I, being a bit of an advanced Windows user, a bit of advanced application user, like this style so I can see and get to everything very quickly. You also see up here I can have favorites that I can have pieces in, and these favorites are really easy to add to. I can remove it like that or just simply add it like that. Okay? Over here you have a typical dashboard. This allows you just to see information quickly and perhaps get to some information quickly. I want to just now jump and let's say I want to do multiple things at once. I'm going to open up another tab and jump to my customers. Have this information come up here. And I got a list of customers here. Now notice I don't have to go in multiple places. I don't have to have different tabs. I could actually just jump around right on this tab to wherever I wanted to go to as well. Typical multi-tab browsing type of functionality is something we pulled from most browsers out there. It allows users to multitask in a way that is structured and gives them the ability to work within their system without getting confused as to where they are. So right here on this list of customers, I can double-click and open a record and have a look at it. Okay? And perhaps I want to just simply put that over there and open up another record, right? You know, oftentimes you want to compare records side by side, be able to look at information. Something that in the green screen world, you'd actually have to open up 2 green screen sessions, and we all know users that do that. But if I take a look at this thing and put it over there and jump back and look at the other one, you'll see that I can compare them side by side. Now, you didn't see me press any function keys. You didn't see me do any particular key entries or work with or anything like that. But what actually happened here is I navigate the user with simple point and click to an existing green screen application. This is an existing application that was written, well, in the 90s. It's based on 5 files back then. And this entire system was written in 6 hours. Okay? So let me close these up. Actually, before I close it up, just to show you that this is a typical green screen, I'm going to F12 here and hit another F12. And what happened behind the scenes is the screen actually signed on, hit the number 1, did a, let's see, it's F21 to position 2, came over here, filled in the key for me, put that at the top, and did a number 2 on it to edit it. And this is what I saw. Okay? But all that happened in the background. All the end user did was point and click. Okay? And not only do they get to this information, but they also get to additional information. For example, you can integrate with Google Maps or even Bing Maps, depending on what your flavor is. You can get to additional relevant information and start drilling down, see shipping addresses, orders. You can add remarks, time and date stamped remarks, and look at some audit information about that customer. Okay? All in a single point-and-click environment. Very intuitive, very easy to use, no training. And if we go back to here, let me just show you different ways of drilling down into some of that information. One, I can get a little more vertical space here. As a typical user, I might want to change how I present my data. And as I do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on orders because I got a customer that called in. Acura Fort Myers just called in, and they want to talk about a particular product in a particular order. And they walk me through it on the phone. I ask them for their order number. They give me that. I get to that order. Oh, by the way, this is also a green screen here. I can look and review information of that and then drill down into order items. Okay, and in my order items, I can take and look at a preview pane on that. I could also double-click and open these if I wanted to, but I haven't gotten to the complete information I wanted. And this is a green screen down here, too. Just keep reusing this stuff over and over. And on this green screen, I actually happen to have a button, and I can click on that. Okay, and that opens up yet another window about the product. So here, in a matter of point and click, while on a nice conversation with my customer, I can easily walk through, drill down, and get to the information. I go from my customer to the customer's order, to the order item, and then directly to the product. And here I am on the product. And of course, this is a green screen as well, right? So I just keep jumping around in a typical Windows interface. I haven't had to go through training. It's intuitive. I don't have to press the F12 key or anything like that, right? So let's get back to a little bit more information on what we have to show here. So if we look at this top two, we've got a lot of content here. I can drill down into the content from here. I can change the way that content looks. Okay. If we look over here at the products, here's a nice little tile view that allows you to see the products, scan through them, and see what's in there, right? Quick image to be able to get to what I want. If we're in customers, go back here again, I can do a quick search. So let's say I need to find information. Let's say I'm looking for BMW. Okay, I can get to that very quickly and find it very fast. Double-click and open it, right? Or let's say I'm not exactly sure who I'm looking for. I know the customer's name is John. Let me go ahead and select all my records here and go up to my filter here and type in John. And oh, there it is. It's I'm not sure if it was his last name, his first name, or his middle name, or what it was. I can see it over here in the email. Let's just say that I'm pretty sure it's his first name. So I can go in here and actually select what I want to filter by and be able to see that as well. Or say I'm not sure if it's the first name or the last name, which one it is, and I can do that. All right, so very rich, robust ways of searching and finding information. All right, one other thing here that I can do is I can very quickly take this data that I've searched for and found that my boss or executive might be looking for, hit on that button there, and boom, I've got an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Remember, this entire system was built in less than a day. Let's also say I'm somewhere in the system, don't know where, but I need to get to that customer again. I can come up here and very quickly find them and double-click and open them right from here. Okay, and again, I'm doing all this jumping around, and what do you have in the background? An existing RPG or COBOL, Lanza, Sign-On, whatever base system that I'm just reusing exactly as is. Let's say I am working in the system, and that same as that customer calls back, I can come over to my history here and see who I've been to, what I've opened before, and get to that one again. So very quickly, very intuitively, as an end user, I am jumping around. I am getting my job done, right? Let's say I need to save something to get to later. I can come over here, open up my folder, and drag and drop something into my folder. Okay? And once again, right from here, I can get to that. Okay? I can do the same. Maybe I need to give it to Jeff. I want him to take a look at this as well. So I can put it in his folder, and he can very quickly find it. Okay. I can have favorites, which are just for me. Folders is anybody that has security access can see all folders. Favorites is just for me, and I'm the only one that's going to look at that. I also have my hot list, which is what we typically use for WIP, or your work in progress. And down here we have attachments. Attachments are cool. I can add an attachment to any record, any file in my system. I can attach it to any record in my system, and it'll upload it to a centralized server for any user to access if they have security rights to do so. And all this built in 6 hours. I can add simple things like video. Perhaps I want to have a video up there, a training video or a marketing video that people need to see and work with, right? Or I can have web pages that I specifically want to get to. I can take and allow users to open that web page into a new window or to maximize it, or no matter where they might navigate to in it, I can automatically get them back to that original page. I can show PDFs. So a single composite user experience throughout the entire system that you can plug and play just about anything you want. Even, for example, just a plain old emulator. Or maybe I want a quick way of getting to my active jobs. Right? And all this is going to your IBM I. Okay? So that's a quick demo of the Windows. Well, maybe you don't want Windows. Maybe you want to have, oh, sorry, it's going to my other screen here. Maybe you want to have a web application. And that web application, you might want it to look just like that line of business, which you can. We can do that as well. But you also may want to have it look different. And we can make things look vastly different. There's no limitation. There's no dead ends to the user experience. It's up to your creativity. We give you some guidance and help point you in a direction we think is good, but we're not going to stop you from making a choice of your own. I can jump around in this system just like I was before. I can get to my different applications. I can get to my customers, my products, etc. My shipping addresses. Go back to my customers here. I can drill down into my customer and see particular detail inside that. All right, I missed it. There we go. Drill down even further in that. I can edit it, delete it, do more here. So basically everything you could do in another system you can do here. But that's still not enough. Let's say I need to provide a mobile interface, right? And I'll just shrink this down and we can pretend it's a mobile interface. And I can enter in my same user ID and password in this. And again, it's my IBM I user ID and password. And I can drill down through this in a more mobile environment. Okay? And jump right back to home. Get to my products, etc. Okay. Again, a different way of accessing the same exact data. It's just another presentation layer. So whether it be Windows, web, or mobile, we can do them all. Let me jump back now to the PowerPoint. I hope that was an enlightening demo. All right, and those demos represent just a fraction of what can be accomplished. It is truly all possible with our Accelerator development solutions. It's how we enable you to develop faster, develop better, and develop more. You see, Accelerator is a complete end-to-end software development solution with many frameworks based on a best practice modern enterprise architecture, code generation wizards, software development tools, and a repeatable set of methodologies and practices that allows developers to continually deliver next-generation advanced agile software for their business. With Accelerator, the entire base software is created for you. Our wizards walk the developers through the production process of data storage selection and presentation definition. Then, based on that, using various frameworks and code generators, produces fully functioning software with open, well-formed, and documented code that will be easy to maintain in the future. The next step after creating the base system in the production process is to enrich and extend it. This is where the developers unleash their genius and creativity on the innovation that can make the biggest positive impact to the business. And Accelerator will assist with that too. In fact, we have broken up our technology into 3 levels of acceleration. Acceleration Level 1 provides general developer assistance on common development needs and tasks. Acceleration Level 2 provides a greater foundation with architecture and frameworks around common development patterns and structures. With some configuration and coding, this functionality can be delivered quickly and specific to your business needs. Acceleration Level 3 provides out-of-the-box features and functionality that requires no coding whatsoever. Plug-and-play delivery to the users and fast time to value for the business. These acceleration levels is also representative of our agile approach to delivering and maturing new technology. Our clients and developers define their software needs that we can help with. We deliver pieces that assist in that need. Then, as more patterns are identified, the solution matures to a level 2 and perhaps even eventually to a level 3. Let's discuss briefly this approach to software development. See, Surround has high levels of expectations for next-generation software that we develop that is summed up into what we call advanced agile software. Now, with highly skilled and very advanced developers and all that is possible in software today, it is, as you can imagine, a substantial challenge to fully define these expectations. Through the process, we had identified hundreds of attributes that needed to be part of our blueprints. But ultimately, as we do with everything, we identified patterns in those attributes and created very clear and easy-to-follow principles. We categorized them all into what we now call the 7 pillars of advanced Agile software and follow these pillars as our software development religion. These 7 are loosely organized here in what we call our priority order. And I'll go into those in more definition at another time when we talk later on. Ultimately, we live by those pillars, and we'll have what we call advanced Agile software, advanced to connect to anything, Agile to adapt to changing business needs, and software that is quick to develop and easy to use. Accelerator Development Solutions provides for all 7 pillars, so much so that it can't be thought of as just a solution for just the developers. Accelerator is a solution for your users with a productive user experience well-defined for many different devices and business situations. It's a rich UX that is productive right out of the box and with unlimited potential to be developed into anything the users could possibly need. A productive UX that provides a return on investment the first day and every single day thereafter. And there is agility for the business to react quicker with more software, to be able to better predict software development efforts and deliver the quality that will get the return on their investment. Oh, sorry, jumped ahead too quick. You see, we are different than most tools in the marketplace because we not only focus on making the initial coding faster, but we also make the software better and provide more capabilities than what you would ordinarily be able to deliver on. So we aren't just focused on initial productivity. Instead, we deliver enhanced productivity over the entire system development lifecycle. This includes the long-term use and maintenance of the systems you build. Have you ever had what was thought to be a small fix or enhancement to an application that takes as long to build as the initial application? It feels like every piece of software just adds to the ever-increasing maintenance drag. With the well-thought-out architecture of Accelerator, that is virtually eliminated. See, with Accelerator, we consider all 3 experiences: the business experience of the IT investors, the user experience of the IT consumers, that is the business staff, partners, customers, community, and audience, and the developer experience of the IT producers, the software producers, the developers, the business analysts, the QAs, etc. We believe that all 3 must be in balance to truly deliver the most successful systems. So we have the pillars that drive our process to development, and the BX, UX, DX balance as our objective, as a business experience, user experience, and developer experience, to balance as our objective. To achieve this, we have what we call RAD times 3. It is our complete approach to the application development lifecycle. We have complete rapid application development, what we refer to as RAD 1, but we go beyond that. We also give you RAD 2, a robust architectural design as a powerful n-tier modular service-oriented architecture. Additionally, you get a rich, well-thought-out user experience, accessible data, integration, and interoperability. And we call all that we call rich agile data, or RAD 3. Summing this all up, you get a productive user experience right out of the box. Since there are no limitations, you can enrich and extend this as far as your creativity can take you and what your business needs are. Even additional patterns and interfaces can be incorporated or created to incorporate other devices and work processes without any lock-in. There are no brick walls. Take it as far as the business needs with composite applications that provides the same unified experience for all that use it. Accelerator even has the architecture to both be the composite application as well as to feed another composite framework. You can even reuse your green screens and other legacy programs as I had showed you. Just plugging them in. Listen, here is a simple premise that I believe we can all agree on. That is, all software developers have the same goal when developing: to make the best applications possible. Unfortunately, they rarely have time for that. Years back, we felt these pressures all the time too. There was a bunch of functionality and a level of quality that we really wanted to achieve and really wanted to deliver. But there were so many things that got in the way of doing that. whether it be the complexity of the technology or the sheer quantity of higher priority work that we needed to get done. Even with an incredibly talented and powerful team, everything would get backed up. We had a large and ever-growing backlog of development. We haven't met any development shops yet that don't have that. That is why our consultants were usually called in to add more bandwidth to the team, or more talent, or more knowledge. For shops that can't throw more people at the problem or can't justify the cost, projects either never get started or functionality and quality suffer. The company doesn't get the software it needs, and what it does get falls short of those of the users and the business expectations. That is the massive problem in which we set out to solve with our solutions. We wanted to develop faster, develop better, and develop more. We didn't want to get more bandwidth by throwing more people at the problem. We wanted to eliminate waste and optimize the bandwidth in the team we already had. Our approach was simple. Identify patterns in all the development that we have done and continue to do. Move everything we can to higher level classes and create code generators for all the rest. Then top it off with tools, controls, best practices, and code examples for anything that can be generated or, well, isn't generated yet. One of our key objectives added a particular challenging wrinkle. Based on previous experiences with all other solutions out there, we would not be satisfied unless ours could do this all without any limitations or dead ends for developers. We wanted to simplify without limiting and encapsulate without locking in. Let me show you what a solution like this provides to the developer, what we ultimately came up with. Okay, so I'm going to jump into what we call our Accelerator Launch Pad. This is about the only thing to us there is. After this, you go into the Visual Studio to do all your development. Okay, I'm going to jump in. You can create a system, an application, or a module. The whole thing being a system, applications being a grouping of modules. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. As I go into this, just hit Next. I want to give it a name. I'm going to copy an existing system. What's great about copying an existing system is I get to work smart, not hard, right? And that is I get to pull in from this existing system the look and feel, the typical commands, the file menu items, the typical toolbar items, and anything else within the system of its basic look and feel. I'm also going to attach these value adds down here. So I'm going to include Attachment Manager, I want to include my remarks, and I want to include user access and security controls. I'm going to hit Next, and we'll give it a name, and we'll call this our Easy Buy Auto Parts System. What you just saw there, I'm going to generate the whole thing. And oops, I'm in the wrong spot here. Let me go back to here. My icon. Now, one thing you'll notice here is I'm saving everything down at the bottom, or everything into a file. I'm going to save everything I enter, everything I type, every question I answer into a progress file. I can then save this, come back and change it later, or maybe generate the system, go to my users, come back, tweak it a little bit, regenerate, and show my users again. I got some settings here I can set. My definitions in the beginning helped set all this up for me. You'll see I can go for different databases. In this particular one, I'm going to connect to an IBM, give it my user ID. Now, this is my development user ID and password that I'm going to connect with, some company names, and other parts. Okay, hit Next on that. Now I'm going to go into a particular library on my IBM. I search for that, and I get all the physical files in that environment. I come down here, and I can find a bunch of these files that I want to work with. These are the 5 from that legacy application. Excuse me. I can drag and drop them over in here. Let's see, I want to look at products. Oh, and customers have orders and order items. I got those backwards. That's all right. And you'll see that it starts loading them up. And what it's doing is it's going out to the IBM. It's finding all the information it can about them, so I can come in here and make changes if I so please. It found this physical file that I put there. It found the description along with that, made that my module name and description automatically, and also took that name and went out to a library of icons and found one that it would best think fits it. What's important to show you here is down here where we have naming standards. This shows you the architecture, the end-tier architecture of the system. You'll see our BOSS, or our Business Option Services, which is the back end. is broken up into the entity, the business process, the data access layer, the data maps, and the view model. Our presentation layer down here, this one being WPF, has the different items for the WPF, the detail, the drop-down, and the content window. And you see each one of these, the naming standards filled in for me. As a developer, I didn't have to go look them up. I didn't have to guess at them, maybe make a mistake. It gets done for me. I don't care about those. I can go in and open them later and modify to what I need. Okay. Come into my views. So the views on this environment, on this particular file, you see right here it's got several different logical views that it founds or indices. I don't want to really, right now the internal ID one is set to the default. Let's change that to be the name. Also, users today don't view things like we did in the past. They browse things. So I can even change description and everything on the fly. I can also come in here, and let me make this a little wider so you can see it. I can also come in here and look at fields, and I can change the way those fields are going to look. For example, I can come in here and say that I want this to be a date field, and I want this to be a time field, and I can select different things. Also, what's important to see here is that while I have my cryptic name here that I've gotten from my IBM, over here is what the rest of the world will see me by, my property name. So it pulls in those descriptions automatically for you. You can modify them as well if you'd like. But this is giving me a very long-worded, the items and way I would like to see it as a developer. Okay. Other things is the detailer. When I double-clicked and opened a record, that's called the detailer. These are the fields that are going to show up on that. I can rearrange them if I want. I don't want to show the internal IDs on the main one. And let's say I want to put the name field up before the parent relationship. I can do that right from here. You also see that down at the bottom, my audit stamps are not selected. My standards and controls component from the beginning of the application did that for me and put them all over here on the audit stamp. Now I'll also include the internal IDs there in case I want to check them out later as a developer. I can also define what fields I want as a title. I have a coding standard in there that says any field with a description of name, make it part of the title. A little overzealous for this one. Let's just keep the company name and contact last name. And also required fields. I'm sorry, fields not to copy. I can decide fields if I'm allowing a user to copy. I can provide fields that do that I don't want to have copied. I can also start to add some business rules. For example, I can define certain fields as being required, and that will automatically show up in my presentation as being a required field. In my search, you know what? I never want to limit the user. I want to search for everything, but you know what? I also don't want to encumber them. So let me move some of these off into a separate single click before you get to those, and that's what we call the extended search. Content window, that's that list that you saw. I'm going to show it as a data grid. I'm going to move my internal IDs to the end of it. Oops, right to the end. Don't need to see those, but I like to leave them on there in case as a developer I want to see them. I'll also put my parent relationship afterwards. The rest I'll leave as is. Come down to my drop-down. Now, a drop-down, if I'm making a customers module, it's a good chance that I'm going to make something, for example, an orders module, in which I need to include a drop-down or a customer selection on. And I can do that, and I want to do a search by customer name, right? That's how I want to find my customer. All right, I could do that for all of these, and that's what a developer typically would do, go through those types of questions for all of these modules. But I'm just going to leave the others as defaulted and just move on. The next step is to create an application. So I'm going to say customers orders as an application. I'll give it an icon. Let's see, that one, and hit create. And now let me put some items in there. For example, I'll just select all of them. Put them all in here. And you know what, I'm going to create, wrong button. I'm going to create one more application, products, and give it an icon. Create that. And I just want to put the products in there. And I might have others that I put in there later on with another generation. Okay, that's good enough for there. I'm going to go to module generation, or module relationships. And now let's create some more relationships. So I can add any fields earlier on. That's the one-to-one relationship, if you have that. I showed you the drop-down. That's the one-to-many. Now this is the many-to-one. So customers have shipping addresses and orders. And they do that by these keys. I want to map it by my customer internal ID. I do want to show a drop-down when I select those on those details. And boom, I've now got those relationships. Let's create one more, and that is orders have order items. Orders have order items. Select that. Give it a key. Okay, and now I'm good. So I've created some relationships. That's it. I'm going to I've done all the definition I need to create an entire system called Easy Buy Auto Parts. It's got a customer orders application with search on that, shipping address application, 5 different modules in there. It's also got a products application with a product module, and that's the same exact one as what's up here. There's no additional coding. It's the same one, just reused. And we've got these different relationships. I'm going to insert the framework metadata to run this dynamically. I'm going to generate and build all the code, and I'm going to execute the system. I hit finish, and away it goes. Now, what's great about how all this works is I've gone into this, and by the way, it'll take about a minute and a half or so for this. I've gone all into this, and I've done it very intuitively. As a matter of fact, oftentimes with our customers, they'll have business analysts do this. And the business analysts will go through the process. They'll work with users, maybe answer some of the questions, tweak it, and then take the whole progress file and give it to a developer, and that developer will generate it and then build beyond it. It really, really does streamline the whole process, and it makes it very intuitive for both how to develop and then the end system, how to use. And it'll give the developer the creativity, it gets rid of the mundane development that they don't want to do, yet provides them the ability to implement their creativity in the business processes, in the business areas that it's most important and provides the most value out of. All right, actually, while this is going, and it should be completed soon, I just wanted to show you one other quick thing, and I'm actually going to open up a rewrite now. So what I mean by rewrite is before you saw reuse, and that was the green screen. Here you see it's starting to complete some of the stuff. It should be done momentarily. And I just wanted to show you how robust the presentation can be. By doing that, and also how there's no limitations, I'm going to change completely how it looks. And click OK here. I'm going to restart the system. I have to for that particular massive change. You'll see already you're starting to see a slightly different change, but when it starts up, you'll see a dynamic different application. And we had an end user that wanted something that was more web-like, and this is what we came up with for them. They could have done it themselves, but they actually engaged with us to do it. And you'll see now the system is exactly the same. It's exactly the same system. And this could be the reuse as well. I just want to show you that you don't have to do reuse. You can do rewrite. It's exactly the same system, all with the same exact interfaces, all built in the same exact time frame with a completely different interface. Okay, and I can simply go back to here and change it back to whatever I want. Okay, and it looks like our system is just about done. Looks like it's taking a little bit more time than it typically does. We are actually just, for this meeting, we're competing with the GoToMeeting itself. I'm sitting in Florida, and it's connecting up to our IBM I that's sitting up in New Jersey. It looks like it's just about finished. Okay. Here's that same exact system, generated out of the box, absolutely zero coding. Loading for first time use. And here's my data. So I've got my navigation over here, just like you saw before. I can double click and open records. Now here you'll notice that all the data is just put down, but I've still got all the same relationships that you saw before that I defined. And it's the same exact system. All that right out of the box. All right, we're running short on time, so let me close this down and just sum up here for you. Presentation. Actually, I was going to do one more poll here. Will, can we do this one real quick, please?
Absolutely. So with everything that you guys have seen right now, we're really curious what interfaces are most important to you. So I'm launching the poll right now, and you can actually select whatever applies to you. So the possible answers are Windows client, something that's also easy to install we want to focus on, a web browser, the mobile tablets, or integration web services, or something else. Everyone seems to be voting pretty quickly. All right, about another 5 seconds, we'll probably have everyone in. All right, we have 100% of you guys who voted, and the winner here really is web browsers. You guys are really looking at some web-based stuff, and a really, really high percentage towards mobile and tablet, another high percentages towards Windows clients, and it looks like integration web services are trailing along behind, but still a pretty good percentage there. So Lee, back to you.
Great, thank you, Will. Moving on here, I just wanted to show you an example of where you get the benefits out of a solution like this. Over on the left, this is a chart from an actual customer of ours. And over on the left, you see the actual, these are quotes from several, the average of quotes from several different solutions. One interesting thing about quotes is, remember, they often have cost overruns. What you see over on the right is the amount of time it actually took us to deliver the solution. So you can see that there's a major impact. As a matter of fact, 57% of the cost of the competitor's initial projection is what we were able to deliver. It wasn't an estimate, it's what we delivered. To show you that in a slightly different diagram, if we look at what the impact it has over this entire software development lifecycle, you get to focus on the business, not the plumbing, enforce patterns and standards, and reduce the guessing for developers. Increase quality, reliability, and traceability in being able to test and find bugs. Use architecture to solve technology shifts, not have to fight technology. Accelerator's flexibility allows you to deliver the right application to the right user on the right device, no matter what it is, whether it's line of business or mobile and tablet applications. Accelerator's flexibility helps you to develop what you need at your pace when you need it. You can modernize existing legacy applications, rewrite existing legacy apps, or write brand new functionality. And of course, no limitations and no dead ends. So what's next? Where do you go from here? Well, you took the first most important step, and that is attending this webinar. The next piece would be to have a look at some of this stuff. And we will send you this with a follow-up email. We'll send you some links to some different pieces. And then after that, we encourage you to contact us and go through a live demonstration. Assuming you really like what you see, and we're quite confident you will, we can plan and go through a process of proving it out to you and showing you what it is. And then after that, it's time to get started and do the work. All right, we're a little bit 1 minute overdue here. I will see a couple more questions. I will respond to those online. Please go, or in email. Please go ahead and keep asking them, or you can send me a question. There's some contact information for myself. My email, I also encourage you to reach out and check us out on LinkedIn, or tweet us and follow us on Twitter, or check us out on Facebook. I'd like to thank you guys all for coming in and taking the time for watching this. Have a great day, a great rest of your afternoon or morning, wherever you may be, or evening for those of you joining us from across the lake. And thanks again. Have a great day. Mark, did you want to say anything? Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you off there.
Just thank you all for coming, and we'll certainly be in touch. And again, wonderful presentation, Lee.
Thank you.
The organized